If you're anything like me, then it's likely that notebooks just find you somehow in the universe and tell you what purpose they're supposed to serve. Let's take a look at all of these notebooks that I somewhat have on the go at the moment. I'll tell you what each one is for, whether I am finished with it and bringing it into my lineup for the second half of the year, or whether it is staying in the past. Hi, I'm Erin, and yeah, I really do like notebooks a lot. Let's have an in-depth look at my journal lineup, and I'd like to know about yours too. How many journals will you have going for the second half of the year? Let's start with the largest notebook and work our way to the smallest. This embroidered square journal is my reading journal. It is a 9x9-inch square notebook from Archer & Olive. It's from their Cabinet of Curiosities collection from April last year. I bought this when it became available at an Australian stockist, and I hoarded it because I knew I wanted it to be my reading journal for 2025. I have filled out up to the beginning of June so far, and you can see I'm not quite to halfway just yet. So this one will be staying with me, obviously, for the rest of the year. There's still plenty of room to work on there. I'm hoping to fill it. We might get just shy. I'm reading a lot less this year than I was last year. So this one is staying in active duty, which means I'm going to put it on the right side of the desk. Up next is this little A5 showstopper of a cover. This is the Made of Stars journal from the Quirky Cup Collective. This one has dotted pages. The dots are quite intense in the Quirky Cup Collective journals. So I personally wouldn't use this one for a bullet journal or a reading journal, but I have been making good use of it as a pour your heart out kind of thoughts and feelings journal. I go back and forth on this one. I've been using it for several years at this point. I don't glue stuff into this one, so you can't see very easily how far through the notebook I am just from looking at the pages the way that you can with my other notebooks. So let me just find where I have used. This is how far into this notebook I am. Not very far at all. I do use this when I feel that I want to write about something, but that is not an everyday thing for me. So this one is going to continue until I fill it up. And when I do fill it up, I'll be replacing it with a journal that I enjoy using a little bit more. I think the covers on the Quirky journals are stunning, but the use makes them a little bit less fun for me as someone who is really obsessed with a certain kind of notebook. So staying in use, which means it's going over here with the reading journal. Next up is this one, also from Archer & Olive, also A5. I got this one with their subscription box back in, when was that? September 2023. It's a gorgeous notebook. They did re-release it for purchase at one point, but I believe it is out of stock again. This one is my research and development journal. I've had two of those in the past. Basically, this is where I make mock-ups of layouts that are for videos that are about layouts. I swatch washi tapes and take promo photos for collabs with people and demonstrations and that kind of thing. That all goes in here. It is a pretty hectic hodgepodge of stuff. It's also where I mood boarded the themes for the mystery journal with my channel members on a live stream, which was so much fun. I still have, let's see, probably about a quarter of this notebook to go. It's got a little bit of damage here because I've had it going for some time now. So I think this one will definitely see me through the rest of the year. This is not one that I care about changing out at a particular time though. Like I don't feel like I need a new research and development journal for a new year. So this one I'll just keep using until it runs out, which means it is staying in rotation and going over here on the pile. I really love an A5 journal. I have several of them on the go at any one time because I do think they're a very versatile size. This one is from TIEFOSSI. It's their Song Brocade journal in the blue colorway, and it is chock full. This one has a lot of pages. Anyway, this one has, it's one of their 190, let me check. Yeah, 190 page journals, which is more than the standard 160 that you get from most notebook brands. This has been my working bullet journal for the first half of this year, so all of the setups in this one are already available on the channel, and it is chock full. So this one is getting retired with the first half of the year, and I'm moving into a new bullet journal from the beginning of July. And it's being replaced with this journal. The fact that it is also a kind of light blue makes it feel like a natural continuation from the journal before. This journal is also from TIEFOSSI. This one is their gold vintage journal in blue. The blue looks a little bit more denim in real life than it looks on the website, but I still think it's quite nice. I have already started to set this one up for the second half of the year, so if you're keen to see what I've done with it, you can find this on my channel already. There is a link in the description. But obviously, having only set up the beginning of things. I've got July in here as well by the time you're watching this. Not at the time I'm recording this, but that'll happen soon. This little beauty is going to be in use for the second half of the year. One more A5 notebook here, although this one is very different to the others. I'd love to find a really good sticker to go on the cover of this one. If you've been watching the videos on my channel over the last few months, you'll know that this is my ink journal. This is where I'm swatching all of my fountain pen inks and categorizing them. Most of these are just samples, but I do have some full-sized ones as well, because I don't have that many full-size fountain pen inks, but my friends give me samples, which is so lovely. This journal is from My Paperclip, and I picked this one. I have a few from them actually, but this one has dotted pages, and dotted pages are my favorite kind of pages. This one actually has recycled paper, which I think fountain pen people would probably somewhat crucify me for, but I'm still a baby fountain pen person. I'm on this journey in the infancy of my fountain pen understanding, and so as a result, I'm starting with what I have rather than jumping in with something that's going to cost me more money. And yes, I did spill ink on the elastic closure the very first time that I used the journal. I've also got a tiny little smudge of blue on the back cover, but this is going to be ongoing for some time, I believe. You can really see what I've used though, because the paper buckles. That's something I'm getting used to. Fountain pen people seem to be okay with that, so I'm going to learn to be okay with it too. On to the continuing pile with Yi. The journals are about to get smaller. This one right here is my money journal, or my financial journal. I don't show the inside of this one on the channel because this is a bit more sensitive as far as the information that's included, but this is where I keep track of money that's coming in and money that's going out. I have in the past been very detailed with this, but these days I'm just doing like a wrap-up page per month, and to be totally honest with you, I haven't been super on top of that either. I am still updating the annual trackers in this, so I have an idea of where my savings are at and my savings goals and how much money I'm spending overall. So this one is kind of tentatively staying in rotation, but I'm definitely not filling it out to the same level of detail that I have in the past. And I'm actually completely okay with that. I think it will take me several years to fill this one up if I continue the way that I'm going. There's also cat hair stuck to everything that I've ever owned. So Cashflow Finance Money Journal, it does have its own video if you're keen to check it out, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. It's staying in rotation, but only kind of as an I pick this up once a month kind of a journal. Next, we've got my Morris dancing journal. The last time I made one of these videos, this was not in my possession because I lent it to a friend, but it's back in action, baby. This one's from Archer and Olive. It's one of their little, I'm going to say A6 pocket-sized journals. It's gorgeous. I love the cover. The first time I opened it up, I was really disappointed though that it has lined pages and not dotted. I have become absolutely a shill for a dotted page. I've spilled something on this at some point. I remember doing it, but I don't remember what it was. This one I chuck in my bag and I take to dance practice with me. I do a style of English folk dancing that has lots of different traditions within it, and things can be quite different from one dance to the next if they're in different styles. And so I have been writing down my notes about these dances in this book, and I do Northwest as well as Cotswold. So I have some Northwest notes in the back over here as well. This is such a helpful learning tool. I'm getting to a stage where I don't need the book very often anymore, but it has been a big help. So I'm going to keep it for learning new dances. It's going over here. And finally, the smallest notebook in my collection, this tiny little one from Notebook Therapy's Lucky bag from the end of last year. It is the cutest tiny baby notebook that I have ever had. And of course, I put rainbow washi tape on the edges as a reference because this is my pen swatch journal that I use when I need to pick colors for a theme. I can just pull this out of the cupboard and refer to my swatches here. I have some of them on black as well when they are opaque paint markers. Where's an example of that? There we go, there's one. So that in any circumstance, I can find the right pen. This notebook is going to be ongoing, hopefully for several years, because I've left space. I've kind of built in some flexibility so I can add more of each color as needed. And if I need to start again, well, the last entry is here, which is about not quite, 2/3 of the way into the notebook. So there's always room for me to just add a new purple page or something over here, line the page edge with purple tape and continue on until it's full. Small but mighty. I love this notebook, and there is a video of the swatch process of this one on my channel too, in case you're keen to see how I set it up. Here they are arranged in height order somewhat. It is quite the little notebook collection. This one is being retired and will go on my shelf of used up journals, but the rest of them are coming into the second half of the year with me, which means I'm currently working with 8 notebooks on the go at once. Of course, some of these are notebooks that I will be using every day. Some of these are notebooks that I will use as needed. Some of these are notebooks that I honestly only touch when I really need them for their dedicated purpose, like the swatch ones. So even though 8 notebooks at a time sounds like a lot, they are not as labor intensive as you might guess. It is probably also worth reminding you at this point that my YouTube channel is my job now. So using notebooks is literally part of that, which is wild, and I recognize that. Let me know how many notebooks you have on the go for the second half of 2025. And I'd love to know what their purposes are too. Do you have any journals that are different to mine? Let's have a discussion about it in the comments. Just in case you're keen to keep watching, here's a link to the new journal setup in my new bullet journal for the second half of 2025. Underneath that is a playlist of all of my reading journal videos so far this year. And down in the description are links to some relevant videos about the other journals that I use too.